Hey, we're Sons of Daughters. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Chrystal, and you're listening to Tobin Tonight.
Why, hello. How are you guys? How's COVID been treating you? Have Chrystal and Jimmy, have you gotten into any Zoom fights?
Chrystal and I love each other. We don't fight. We've never fought before. Not even
I
once.
know, it's such an anomaly. I don't know how we've gotten 7 years without a single fight.
Well, there's always this interview there, Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly. So this could be a first. Let's do it up. Cage match first, Jimmy and Chrystal.
Yeah, a cage match. I'm sure that'll go over. I'm sure that'll go over well.
Yeah, man. No, COVID has been. It's so many things, right? It's been crazy. It's been a lot of what's happening, trying to figure it all out. Everybody's got something different to say, but also I know obviously it's been a lot of hardship and mental stuff for people, but I think it's been also a good chance to kind of sit back and be like, hey, what do I want to do here? Am I doing the things I should be doing with my life, and what's important? And let's make sure we do all that, do more of that stuff. And I think there's a bit of a silver lining in all of it.
Okay, no, for sure. Chrystal, how have you been? How's COVID impacted you?
I've been doing good. I had some time to kind of do some groundwork in Ontario. I quarantined in Innisfil, Ontario for about 80 days almost, and just kind of made sure I took the time, kind of what Jimmy was saying, when you're kind of forced into a pause like this, you have a lot of time with yourself. And so I kind of did the same thing, just kind of asked those questions all right, what am I doing? What do I want to be doing? What do I want to change? What do I not want to change? And kind of did that groundwork in Ontario, and then came to Vancouver to spend time with family and friends. And I mean, for Jimmy and I, the only thing that's kind of stopped for us on a music sense is live shows. And we've even managed to get a few online shows going to kind of keep that train rolling. But we're still writing lots, and we're actually looking into starting to record. And so if anything, the biggest thing that's changed for us is just the touring.
Now, you mentioned about touring, doing online shows, which I think a lot of acts are kind of getting into, trying to keep both themselves and the fans in a state of, sanity. So I assume you're both experts on social media. I'm just thinking, Chrystal may be more in tune with it, as we're we're besties on Facebook. Yeah, Jimmy, you got me left in the dust here, bud. I'm gonna have to shoot on you a bit here, because I'm gonna put Chrystal over as the superior son of daughter member, because we've been chatting for weeks about our favorite bands, our favorite sports teams. Where are you two, Jimmy? What's going on? You must see the message and you must be like, oh, that's Tobin. I'm just going to toss my phone away. He sees the message come up and you're like, I'm hurt, Jimmy. I'm hurt.
Exactly. I have no idea how that stuff works. So rest assured.
I actually have no idea what you're even talking about.
Chrystal, come on now, Chrystal. Just go along with it. Jeez. All right, so we got our giggles out of the way. So tell me, how did you guys form this band?
Take her away, Jimmy.
Basically, Sons of Daughters. Chrystal and I were in a cult years ago.
Okay.
And it was called Sons of Daughters, and we wanted to get, both of us escaped the cult, and we wanted to honor it because it is a part of our history. So we just wanted to make sure that we bring that with us and don't forget where we came from.
Okay, see, my eyes are rolling because I know you're lying, but I'm going to bite. Explain the cult a little bit more to me, Jimmy. Tell me more. Tell me more about it. Was it all sons, one daughter? Were they all daughters, one son? Come on, now I got you backed yourself into it. Explain it a little bit more.
You gotta be careful with that stuff, because, if we start talking too much about it, then, there's ramifications sometimes. Well, let's just say you're safe right now, and I don't want that to change.
Okay, but, see, Jimmy, I think I'm always safe. I'm in Newfoundland, right? I'm on an island, so I feel like I'm always always pretty safe here.
No, you know what, man? We kept getting called, you guys are like, your music sounds like the love child of Dolly Parton and Keith Urban and all these blends of different people. Like, you sound like this and you sound like that. So we're like, okay, we're the sons and daughters of our musical influences. So anybody that is a musician today is inspired by somebody else. So I don't know, we're kind of proudly putting out, it's our own sound, but it definitely has, a history of where it comes from.
Okay. See, I'm not really buying that one either, Jimmy. And see, this is the problem. You could be totally telling the truth here, but now you've already sold me as, somehow being a part of a cult, and now I just can't believe you anymore. Why are you doing this, Jimmy? You gotta make it more, I guess, believable, right? Like, country music, saying they're in a cult. Like, what's the cult? Listening to Garth Brooks and getting cowboy hats and, come on now, Jimmy.
Okay, I'll work on it.
I don't know. I kind of believed it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember those days. Or cult days.
Oh, the cult days. Well, that's the emo phase, Well, I'm kind of glad that you're out of those emo phase days. I guess they're over.
I wouldn't call it a phase. I'm still there.
Oh, okay. I see.
I'm emo to the day I die.
Lifestyle.
Okay, so I see. So you're saying that you're creating this new wave of, I guess, country music, like emo country, because people like pop country, and then some people like just the old-fashioned country. But oh, here you go, you're gonna try to make everything controversial here and come up with emo country. So what's it gonna be like? Chrystal there screaming her head off, banging, going and then Jimmy's like,
yeah, exactly. It's hard enough out there, man.
Gotta pay the bills somehow, right? So Chrystal, who are some of your influences, and how did this translate into you getting into the music side of things?
Yeah, I mean, my musical tastes have been all over the place, kind of, and they still are. I think my first love for music happened when I was in choir and, musicals and that kind of stuff. And that developed into a love for kind of just 70s classic rock. I was a huge Zeppelin and Stones and Bowie fan for many years. And I grew up with country with my mom. When I ever went to Ontario to spend time with my mom, she always, was playing the Judds and Reba and, the kind of 90s country, which I definitely loved. And then like you mentioned with the emo stuff, I think I to a Queens of the Stone Age concert, and 9 Inch Nails was opening, and 9 Inch Nails completely changed my path, my course on the music I was listening to at the time. And now I'm just, I'm really loving these correlated playlists that Spotify puts on, because I find every day I can discover new artists. I'm really, really loving a singer-songwriter kind of playlist, and the Gregory Alan Isaacoffs and that kind of stuff. But I mean, I just feel like I love music in general. If I connect with the song, and that's all it really takes.
I like to say I grew up on Mutt Lange.
Mutt Lange? Okay, Jimmy, I don't know if you're telling me a joke or if that's a real person. I feel like, now that I'm saying this, if that's a real person, people are going to come after me and be like, how do you not know who Mutt Lange is? But if it's not a real person, they're going to be like, oh, geez, why did he talk about how he knew Mutt Lange and he didn't know Mutt Lange? So I'm not even going to lie. I'm just going to say that. What? But here's one that I'm going to toss out to you, Jimmy. And there's a reason I'm tossing this out, so keep that in mind. What about, Reba? Great singer, great actress. I love the show Reba. Now you have a tie into Reba, so explain this story.
Yeah, I've seen Reba. She's actually a pretty good actor. She's kind of like just the all-American mom. She's like preacher's wife, kind of just It's I've seen it. I'm not up on my Reba, but I've definitely seen the show.
What?
She's also got a pretty good sense of humor, right? Reba's pretty
she's cool.
and funny.
She owns a label that Chrystal and I work with a bunch of the people there, called Starstruck. It's on Music Row in Nashville.
And that's why I brought it up there.
Yeah, we'll go in there to her label, and there's a studio, there's writing rooms, and we'll work with the writers, and
I like that though. I like that you mentioned about the like up on my Reba. Like I think you pitched that to her as like a slogan to like either watch her TV shows or listen to our albums. Like, hey, you there? Are you up on your Reba?
Up on my Reba.
Yeah. No, it's got to be. You got to make it proactive though. You got to get up on your Reba.
Okay.
Like it's a horse or something that you get on and you ride off on. Listening to Reba.
Oh my God, I love that.
Like, man, Cheyenne, Brock's over at Barbara Jean's, and I'm gonna need you to get up on your Reba.
Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty good Reba, dude. You should you could take that on the road.
Okay, well, I think I will. I think I will take that on the road. Jimmy, Chrystal, you seem to like my impressions, or maybe just put me over a little bit. But let me do my Dr. Phil for you for this next question. So you two were on the launch. Tell me, how was your time on the show?
I didn't like losing.
No one ever does.
I didn't like. If we're asking.
Oh my God! If we're being honest.
Yeah, but you know what? It's okay because I think a whole bunch of other cool things happened. It was awesome to play in front of Nikki Sixx and Dan Huff and Scott Borchetta. Scott Borchetta's a powerful dude in town. You want to know and you want to be on his good side, and his company Big Machine has a lot of the biggest country artists signed to it, and so it's cool to sit in front of a guy like that and Dan Huff, who has recorded basically every big song over the last however many years, like decades, and be able to sit there and have them kind of analyze what you're doing and say, hey, you could do this better, or you could do this. So that's such a valuable process in itself. And then, it's cool that Dan Huff pulled us out of a lineup afterwards, like after we stopped filming, and was like, you guys are awesome. Like, reach out to me, give us, his cell phone number. And so, all that stuff happened from that show. So I think it was an amazing thing to be a part of, but it's also one of those things where, anything I want to do, I'd love to win it, but it doesn't always happen. I don't think Chrystal and I have ever won a competition, by the way.
Nope.
Oh, well, now, see, I feel a little bit sad for you, but, if it makes you feel any better, I have this group. We meet, like, every week. We sit and talk about just, not winning in life. We're just a whole bunch of losers. Like, mostly it's video games and, dates and people standing us up. But, like, you're free to join. You're free to come and join the group.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, of course, like, we have this Battle of the Bands. We have that every week. It's like every Friday night. Now, I think you could win, but see, sadly, Joe, he plays a mean fiddle, and he's also the judge. So, there's a little bit of bias there, and there's nothing much we can do because he kind of runs the whole place. So I'm sorry. You're probably going to be a runner-up there, too.
That's hilarious.
So, like, tell me more a little bit about the show. Like, were you guys nervous to be on the show? Did you get anxiety? Because, you're looking at some big people across, right, that are judging your music. So, were you nervous?
There's always the anxiety or nerve, for me at least, anxiety and my nerves were, on edge because they kind of want to get you that way. They kind of they have a ton of cameras on you and lots of lights and people, and they kind of have you in like the backstage kind of holding area right before you go out there. So, I was pretty nervous going out there, but once you're out there, the judges and Scott, if anything, they were intimidating, but they were also like really welcoming, and I didn't feel like judged or criticized. Like, just really felt like we were there to show them, what we could do. And I think one good thing with Jimmy and I is we take on challenges. We just picked up and moved to Nashville. Like, we're not afraid to take risks, but I think, definitely we're kind of nervous, but it was like exciting that they spent so much time with us when we came out of that interview. I remember the crew, the production team was kind of like, wow, like they spent a lot of time with you. So I think it gave us the time to kind of prove our versatility and kind of, prove that we can actually work under pressure and so it was a good challenge. But I think
I think Scott the next day tweeted about our band and said that we took on the challenge, and I think we posted that on our Instagram. But he was just kind of like, so that's a win too. It's like, he said to the whole industry that Sons of Daughters is the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's really cool. Because yeah, you can be on a podcast like this, or, have someone from Newfoundland or Alberta, or, even somewhere in the United States, wherever, tweet about, like, hey, check out Sons of Daughters, or check out this song by Sons of Daughters. And it doesn't, I guess, have as much of a reach, or have as much, I guess, not really leverage, but just impact as, say, like a radio station doing it, or a record producer that has maybe seen bands kind of come, they either took them under their wing and helped them get to the next level, or they could be still managing these bands. So, like, I feel like it could be the exact same message that they're tweeting out, but because it's like a record producer or a label or just someone like in the actual music industry, it helps the band just get noticed so much more.
I think that the person from Newfoundland is just, their opinion of our music is just as important as Scott Borchetta's. In my opinion, everyone's opinion that likes our music. Yeah, it's just as, but I do understand what you're saying in terms of business. Yes, yeah, a person in Newfoundland isn't investing $1 million into my radio promotion. You know what I mean?
No, exactly, and that's what I'm trying to get across, right? Like, yeah, every fan matters and every person's opinion kind of matters, and you want that, like, you want to get the positive, but, when it's a label that's doing it, or someone that's actually going to put money into this to help you reach your goal, it's just, yeah, in a sense, it's business. Now, it's funny because you actually mentioned this, kind of ties into what I want to talk about here, is I stumbled across you from planning an interview with the Hunter Brothers. And their agent said, like, would you like to interview this act, Sons of Daughters, as well? And I was like, sure. Like, I'm up for interviews. I'll interview anybody, really. So I listened to some of the songs, and I bought the ones that I liked, I enjoyed, so I bought them off iTunes, so, contributing to the cause there. Yeah, like, I just really enjoyed the sound and how you guys gel together.
Wait, thanks, dude. Oh, man, like, I don't know, anytime somebody, like, buys our CD or, like, downloads the record, it's like, man, you're spending your money on something that, like, we put our whole heart and soul into, right? So the fact that you're doing that, even giving it a chance, means a lot, dude. It's badass.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Like, you're welcome. I mean, thanks for making good music that I can buy. I guess an aspect of this, and it might sound like a silly question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because, that's what I do here. I ask silly questions. Do you see, the video first before writing a song, or do you write the song and then picture the video? And I know someone's going to listen to this and go like, man, what a dumb question. But I'm going to explain it a little bit further. When I'm in a mall, or if I'm in a shop, or I could just be out on the town, right? And you see a video in the store, but they don't play the music. I guess because they don't want it to drown everything else out, or they have their own music on. But I'm looking at the music video, and then I'm picturing in my mind, okay, this is how the song sounds. And then when I go home and listen to it, it could be completely different, and it changes my perspective on it. Sometimes in my mind, anyway, I think a video comes first, and then the song. Like, you have an idea of, like, what about if we made it, like, we're in a swamp somewhere, or, we're out playing soccer, or it's raining, and we're going to make a rainy day song kind of thing. Like, that's what comes to my mind first, but I guess I'm going to shut up and, ask you, what's your process?
Well, the song usually comes first, but I mean, I remember when we wrote I Picture You, one thing we kept saying was in the writing room, I was like, man, I can totally see the video for this. But usually what we do is we leave it up to the director's hands. Like, we pick a director, and we talk with our team about it, and we send the song to the director, and they come back with their treatment. And then that's where we just kind of read the treatment, kind of, give our 2 cents about it, and share our creative vision with the director and the team, and then we go. And I mean, What If We Stay was such an amazing day. Like, our director rents this area in Ontario. It's like Stoufford, maybe.
Yeah, Elton John has a house there.
Yeah, there's these crazy mansions, and he found this kind of like an empty mansion that just has all this crazy wallpaper all over it, and people rent it out for movies and stuff. And that was definitely one of my favorite videos because Jimmy and I did the most like acting that we've ever done in a video before. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was dope. That was a wicked video.
Okay. No. I agree. And I like how you kind of brought in I picture you a little bit of a movement there on Instagram where you ask people like to post their pictures. It's good marketing, but it's also, I really enjoyed the video as well. I know we kind of touched on this earlier, but I just want to bring it back full circle here. What have you been doing in your own lives to stay busy during the pandemic? Like, how are you guys keeping sane?
Right. I mean, I'm at home with my family, so I don't get to see very often. So I've been spending a lot of time with family and friends. It's very rare that I get to be in Vancouver for kind of an undetermined amount of time. I'm usually here for 5 days, so you're running around. But I've been kind of running around discovering Vancouver as if I'm a tourist and trying to stay fit and healthy. I mean, my quarantine in Innisfil, I just kind of sat around. So now I'm in Vancouver, just hiking as much as I can and seeing friends and getting out on the water and reading a lot, writing a lot, that kind of stuff.
And Jimmy?
Yeah, mine's been like, I've been in Nashville. I've been just doing a lot of like writing online, doing those Zoom writes, doing lots of productions, working at my computer. I do a lot of that anyways, so it's like that part really didn't change. And then been going out for walks just to get out, stretch and enjoy the weather, and been hanging out with my girlfriend. We'll go for drives, and we're gonna go to Florida, and 2 weekends from now, just like go for 2-3 days, go to Florida. I've never seen Florida.
Okay, interesting.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you enjoy your time, and of course, stay safe. We had our friend actually, or not, we had our friend. We had your friend, I hope she's my friend, Allie, on a few weeks ago, and we were talking about TV shows, and she gave Chrystal and you a shout out. To come down to have a How I Met Your Mother marathon. I forced an invite. No shame there. No shame. Like, she was like, oh, I'm going to invite everyone down. I'm going to have Chrystal and Jimmy and, every other basically Canadian act that I know. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. Can I come? And then she was like, sure. And I was like, that didn't sound too confident. But yeah, I forced an invite. So no shame there.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to reach out to her. That's really sweet of her.
That's awesome. Allie's awesome. She's great. She's talented, too.
Yeah, no. Like, she also gave shout-outs to Kelsey Kulik and a few other Canadian acts and I think that's cool because, that you see this pride with acts supporting other acts from here. Like, just saying, like, the Hunter Brothers showing love to Jess Maskaluk. I could have probably just butchered that last name. So if you're ever out there listening, apologize for that. Or, like a Dean Brody and a Dallas Smith kind of giving a shout-out to either, say, someone like the Reclaws or even teaming with the Reclaws or themselves. It's like Canadian acts helping Canadian acts get noticed, whether you're big or you're small. You're basically kind of creating this, I guess, bubble or a platform basically to say we're all Canadian music, we're all going to support each other. If I'm the top of the top here, I want you to reach it with me, but I'm going to help you. Or if you're at the bottom and you give a shout out to someone at the top, then they notice it and they're like, hey, maybe we'll have them on our tour with us. So it feels like it's going full circle. And I'm like, geez, like it sounds so Canadian, but it kind of gives you this, like it's like a brotherhood or a sisterhood of Canadian musicians, right? Like you're all in this together and you're going to support each other. And it just kind of gives us Canadians like an idea of, all right, they got each other's backs. So, wow, okay, I'm going to check out this person's music now because this person gave him a shout out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Canadians, it doesn't surprise me that Canadians, there's so many talented Canadians. Like the whole when we grow up, we have access to these, they think like Canada compared to the U.S. sinks money into the arts. They give funding, they give grants. They have ways where you can pay for half of your video and the government will pay half. No one down in the States knows about this. They're all blown away when we talk about that. So it makes sense if you're doing that to people, the government's helping you in that regard. It makes sense that they're building like a culture where people can get, have music careers and can get good and come down to the States and compete. I don't know. I think there's maybe a little bit of pride going on like in the Canadian scene. And I think it's cool. I think that's why people give each other shout outs. It's like, yeah, Celtic too, like Ali, you know, you guys are killing it. Whatever, you know, it's like, it feels good, right?
What is your plans post-COVID, or I guess after COVID? Like, what are some things that you're looking forward to doing, or, you know, just getting back, I guess, to doing?
Well, once COVID, I mean, guys, we're thinking so far down the road right now, and there may not even be an after COVID, but it may be like, you know, the borders will hopefully be able to open. I mean, I don't even know if America's going to be able to travel for a long time, but I want to travel as soon as I'm allowed to, as soon as they're like, you know what, it's safe, there's a vaccine, we have herd immunity, la, la, la. I'm going to get myself on a plane and go see some of this world because I really want to. And I had a plan to do that before this all started. So I think as soon as I can, I'm going to do a little bit of traveling.
Yeah, for me, I think it's more of the same for me. Just keep doing probably more music, and like I want to get to see my parents and my family and hang out, and I want to show my girlfriend my hometown. Yeah, just rocking, you know, like I guess there's two things you can do, right? You can sit around and wait for things to go back to the way that they were, and we don't know that that's going to happen, right? So for me, I'd rather just evolve with the way that things are going right now, and, you know, learn, okay, so, you know, how are we going to figure this out? If there's no more shows for a long time, well, we need to figure out how to do that online, or maybe a new way to get our music out to people, or a new way to do this. And I think that until you're forced sometimes to think, you know, we're getting creative now. We're trying to figure out different ways to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's always good to be creative, like kind of either reinvent things or, you know, find new ways to reach the masses or an audience, you know, especially when you do streams. But I gotta ask, like, you gotta miss, say, the audience being on the road with other acts, like hearing their stories, sharing stories yourselves, kind of making memories, like teaming up and saying, like, oh man, I really love watching them, or like, you know, we could do a duet one day with this band, or like, you know, just sharing some stuff, like, you know, getting insight, you know, even going to different cities and towns, like that stuff. You gotta miss that stuff, right? Because I think that would be really cool to be like an act and go see all these places.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like all that stuff. I mean, I just love playing, you know, music. I love all the edges of music, all the sides, all the corners, you know, like making it and playing it. Playing it's one of the huge parts. And like, I think it's something to do with just the energy of people, you know, the back and forth between the crowd, and then also meeting people and hearing their stories and how, you know, music affects them. And then also just being and seeing all our friends, you know, like we live in Nashville, and we're, you know, sometimes we don't see a lot of these people. We see them on Instagram, but, you know, when there's festivals and stuff, you come up and you see all your friends, and you throw the Frisbee around, have a beer. It's good times.
Mm-hmm.
So in saying this, the live shows you've mentioned, you had these kind of booked up. What's the update there? Like, I know you do your own live streams on Tuesdays, I believe Tuesdays, but in terms of actual shows that you had booked, are there any plans, any updates, you know, anything that you can kind of spill the beans?
Well, a lot of our shows that got, a lot of shows we aren't able to do this year actually just got postponed to next year. We were supposed to be on the Megan tour right now, and that got postponed to October of 21. And then same with the other, we had a few festivals in Ontario. We have the Big Sky Festival, the Et in Quebec, and just a handful of festivals that have just been postponed to next year. So yeah, as I was saying, if fingers crossed, if everything goes to plan and the numbers start going down, and we can play these shows next year. And I'm sure, like Jimmy said too, there's going to be a lot of different avenues that, you know, and creative ways to stay relevant in a live aspect. I know that there's people out there doing the drive-in concerts, and Dan Magnan here in Vancouver has an amazing online virtual concert website called Side Door Access, which I've been looking into. So whether we can do it at festivals or smaller venues or online, I think we're definitely going to be sourcing out live shows in the next few months.
That's going to do it for this episode of Tobin Tonight. Our thanks to Jimmy and Chrystal for coming on the show. Remember, you can find past, present, and future episodes on TobinTonight.com, Spotify, and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and leave a comment or two. For Tobin and myself, this is Jacob saying, thanks for listening and good night.